Such a rich time for music. But for every Bush or REM or Oasis that there was in the world, there were tens of bands that never really scratched the surface of mainstream success. Either that or they did for such a brief moment that if you really happened to wink, you just would miss it. Now, this is 10 1990s alternative songs that you may not know or remember, which means that there may be some bands on here that seem like pretty relatively known names. However, these are some of the cuts that perhaps are very underappreciated. Some of the bands on this list, however, if you were born after the year 2000, either that or you just decided to take a little nap sometime in the 90s, there's pretty much no way that you're going to know about them because their time at the top, or at least being somewhat relevant, was that brief, which is kind of sad. So let's jump right in. At number 10, we have I, Mother Earth with their song One More Astronaut. Now, this seems a bit unfair to put them on this list considering these guys are really big in Canada. However, in the United States, these guys never really achieved that much in the way of success. This is off an album in the 90s entitled Scenery and Fish, and it was the last one to feature their original vocalist, a man by the name of Edwin. There's no last name, by the way. It's kind of like Bono or Madonna or Cher. But this is a great track considering it showcased I, Mother Earth style, but did so in a way that definitely felt very much like a single. It has the elements of funk rock that they have with a instrumental break right in the middle of the song, but at the same time the direct approach definitely seemed to fit that radio atmosphere. And this is a heavy track too. This is certainly one that really seemed like it should have been kind of big here in the States and taken off considering the movement that was going on, but it just never really picked up slack. Now, this whole entire album is actually really good, and it showcases that this band not only had the capability of writing songs such as this one, but also sort of deviate from the main course of music and kind of just explore a little bit. And this was also a band that had the seal of approval from Rush's Alex Lifeson, considering he actually did a session with the band for one of their songs on this album. I believe it was either Another Sunday or Like a Girl, one of those two tracks. So whenever you have the seal of approval of Rush, who just won Music Madness here in 2015, you're definitely doing something right. Definitely check these guys out. Number 9, we have Writing to Reach You by Travis. Now, before we had Coldplay, we had Travis. This album, The Man Who, came out in 1999, whereas Parachutes by Coldplay, the album that started their empire, came out in the year 2000. So that kind of makes Travis the John the Baptist to Coldplay's Jesus Christ, if you want to go with that lofty metaphor. This is a great track because it showcased where Britpop was really going to be going in the post-Oasis Blur atmosphere. And those are two bands that were still kind of holding on to a little bit of acclaim, but it was nowhere near what it was like in the first portion of the 1990s. This is a great track because it's kind of just a soft little guitar with a soft voice and everything, and almost a very romantic sentiment to it, which is a really, really cool aspect of it. We would, like I said, we would hear tracks from Coldplay the very next year that would sort of explode everywhere and showcase what post-Britpop was all about, and this was during the same time frame when bands such as Radiohead were really starting to make a lot of headway and a lot of headlines in their post-OK Computer sessions. But this is a great track that's often underappreciated, often overlooked. Check out this album, check out this band. They're still going strong as far as I know, and they are definitely still very much worth the exploration. Now we get to a couple of bands that if you literally just decided to take a brief 1-hour nap, you missed their time in the sun if there really was any to begin with. But we're here to try to expose you to new music all the time, so here we go. Number 8, we have Amphora, which is a group that was based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and in 1999 released a really, really underappreciated, barely known gem entitled Sometimes Stillborn Breathing. And the song we want to talk about here is Last Train to Kolyma. And this is what happens whenever you have a group of guys that are able to really do a lot with a band whenever they're in that situation, and then life kind of just takes off and takes over, and nothing really comes from it. One of the members graduated from college, wanted to focus on the family and his life that he was going to be building. So, unfortunately, Amphora never really got the success that they deserved, and it's to the point where I'm probably misspeaking their name, which is horrid. It's based off of old clay pots or something or other. But this is a great track because it showcased a lot of kind of the aggressiveness and the energy that you were able to get from bands from the former part of the 1990s, the early part of the 1990s. And really that energy and that effect was very wisely done within their songwriting, and they had a very, very astute way of doing it. This track is heavy, but at the same time it has a little bit of soul behind it, and really it's very much a territorial track that did very well within a certain territory, but damn if it's not a really, really strong performance and a strong effort. I highly recommend you guys scope these guys out at least once and realize that, man, we could have had something really, really big had these guys been able to keep it together. At number 7, we have the song Sugar by the band Molly's Yes. This is yet another one of those territorial things that started to sweep the nation a little bit, but never ever took off, and it's kind of a shame that they never did because they were really strong. This is a group that definitely reminded me of the softer alternative approach that we got during the latter portions of the 1990s. And what kind of happened during 1999 is that there were really two aspects of what was considered alternative radio rock. And you had the one side that was really very much the new metal, the aggressive, you know, my mom and dad never liked me or paid enough attention to me side, if you really want to call it that. And then you had the other side, which was kind of just out there a little bit. You had the Blink-182s and the Creeds of the world that were sort of carving out their own little niche in this weird, strange post-grunge or this pop-punk universe, kind of taking things in different directions, and Molly's Yes was kind of just left in the middle. Sugar and the ensuing album entitled Wonder World are both very, very good releases. In fact, there is a show here locally to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania called Edge of the X on a radio station called The X that would feature new music, and every time I heard a new Molly's Yes song was going to be on that show, I tuned in and wanted to make sure that not only did I listen to it, but that I recorded it on an old cassette tape. Unfortunately, I didn't ever have the opportunity to pick up this album. However, through to the wonders of the internet, I've gotten the opportunity to listen to it, and damn, it's really, really good. It's one that you need to check out. And then number 6, we have Flatline Static by the band Joe 90. And yes, they are named after the television show from the 60s. This is a great group based around just how creative that they were. And Flatline Static was a track that is off of their album entitled Dream This that is going to be completely underappreciated, considering the only song that most people know from these guys is a song called Drive, which I believe was featured in an episode of 6 Feet Under. But I like this track a little bit more because it really just has the opportunity to breathe. The composition has lots of opportunity to breathe on this track, so it has this atmosphere to it, and it has this really good, great mood to it that has just really great, big, awesome track live written all over it. It reminds me of what would happen if, like, Incubus and maybe the Doves had a baby. It's a weird kind of combination where it has that energy of an Incubus song, that big choral effect, that big chorus effect, rather, of an Incubus song, but then it has this softness and the atmospheric tendencies of a band like the Doves, which you should also check out. Oh my god. Lost Souls is an amazing record. I'd almost put it on here, but I felt like a lot of people kind of knew who they were. I could probably be wrong. But Joe 90 was great. This was a great album. Unfortunately, they didn't take off, whatever, either, which was really a shame. That's kind of the point. Number 5, we have Atlanta by the band Stone Temple Pilots. But coverkillernation, everybody knows Stone Temple Pilots. I know that. I know that. This is off of their LP number 4, and I feel is really underappreciated. It was the last track on the album and probably one of the best Stone Temple Pilots ever, songs ever written. You know, one of the best pilots ever written. God damn it. This is a song that has a real romantic feel to it. It's got this softness to it. It's got this real moody atmosphere to it. It's one that you almost imagine being performed with nothing more than a halo of candles being all that is the light within this room. And it's very intimate. And you think it's about this Mexican girl that Scott Weiland has fallen in love with. And now all of a sudden the Mexican princess is out of his life and you're so crestfallen, you're so down, and then you realize he wrote it about black tar heroin. If that doesn't crush your spirits, the song certainly will, because it's one that definitely takes you on an emotional ride. It's a phenomenal track, and really number 4 is an underappreciated album. It's more than just Sour Girl. Trust me, check it out. Number 4, we have Drawer by the band Summercamp. In the middle of the 90s, whenever everyone else was listening to Bush and the Gin Blossoms, I was listening to Summercamp. I was listening to their only LP, Pure Juice. This is another band that never did take off. This is a song that I heard on a short-lived television station entitled The Box, and it was one of those things where you could call in and request your favorite song or the song's music video that you wanted to see and charge up your parents' credit card, and it was phenomenal. Never used it because I'm not an idiot, but at the same time, I heard this track and saw this music video over and over again, just loved it enough to want the album, got the album as a Christmas gift, and loved the piss out of the record, even though it has a bit of an identity crisis at times. Great songs on this album, including Keep an Eye on You, as well as Thing of the Past, but Drawer was the one that really captured it for me. It was a very simple song. These are not very complex lyrics. It's not exactly fucking Dream Theater, but it's straightforward. It's got a heavy edge to it, really, really heavy edge to it for the time, just very straightforward and great for the time. I really, really love this song, really love this album. I wish they would have done a little bit more to promote it. I think they had a very poor secondary choice for their second single, and the band itself just never took off, which is a real shame because these guys were really, really talented, really great. Speaking of bands that are really talented and really great and are criminally underrated, we have number 3, we have Ashtray Red by Pushmonkey. I could talk about any song off of Pushmonkey's self-titled record from the latter part of the 90s at length, and probably have done so at some point in the past on this channel, because this is an amazing record. This is an incredible, very, very, very heavy song. And this is an album that has a great balance between that heaviness as well as very, very intimate, very kind of sensual sounding tracks to it, or at least ones that have a little bit more heart to it as opposed to edge. And I'm thinking of tracks such as Cut the Cord, Either That or Limitless. This is a band that, with this album, got a little bit of acclaim, so some people may actually know who this band is, but it never transferred into a follow-up that did very, very well. They kind of just disappeared off the planet just as fast. I remember the song Caught My Mind started to catch on a little bit on alternative rock college radio, but that was all the further it went, and man, is that a shame. A lot of people missed out on a great gem, so I am giving it to you right now. Check this album out. It is phenomenal. Number 2, we have The Art of Dying by the band Superdrag. Superdrag had a couple of hits early on the album that was previous to this one, which is entitled Head Trip in Every Key. And so they got a bit of a budget in order to record this album, and instead of doing exactly what the record company wanted, which was to produce hits like the ones they had produced before, they just did whatever they wanted and crafted a little masterpiece that very few people will ever hear about or know about, based around the fact that they did what they did, and so it didn't get promoted very well, and so gems such as The Art of Dying have been missed out on by countless individuals. My lord, they decided to almost go a Beatles route with this whole entire album and just try to make the most creative, most over-the-top album possible, and they succeeded. It was really very well done, very well tailored. It harkened their style very, very well, and this is a fitting closer, nearly 6 minutes in length, one that just has an addicting riff to it, a sitar in the background. It's just great. This is a song that you need to hear. This is an album that you need to hear at least once before you die. Make that time now. And that brings us to number 1. That brings us to Stargazer by Mother Love Bone. Everybody knows Nirvana. Everybody knows Stone Temple Pilots, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden. Everybody knows these bands, but they don't know Mother Love Bone, which is a shame. It's criminal. It's horrible. How dare you? People know Alice in Chains too, but yeah. Mother Love Bone was a band that released one album entitled Apple. Their lead singer, Andy Wood, unfortunately died right as the album was being released. Nobody really remembers Andy Wood, which is terrible because he was a phenomenal singer. He had great energy. He was just an incredible individual, and Stargazer really proved that off of this album. It was a heartfelt, lovely song that has a lot of romantic sentiments attached to it, especially for myself. It's one that certainly, lyrically speaking, seems to be a bit of a love ballad, and it's absolutely so well done. But here's the thing, you actually know Andy Wood without realizing it. You know Temple of the Dog, that song Hunger Strike that keeps on playing on your alternative radio station, if you still have one? Temple of the Dog is an Andy Wood tribute band that includes Eddie Vedder and Chris Cornell from Pearl Jam and Soundgarden, respectively. And also features members from Alice in Chains. So you actually knew Andy Wood without even realizing that you knew Andy Wood. Listen to this record. Now, this is a band that's also gotten a little bit of further exposure because I believe the OC or one of those shows like it's featured One Tree Hill I think was the show actually, featured another song off of this album, Chloe Dancer, Crown of Thorns. Among an album filled with indie rock gems from the 2000s, they threw on this grunge classic, this 8-minute long grunge classic, and it's magnificent. It's a closer to the album. It's phenomenal. Check Apple out if you do anything with your life in the next hour. Check out Apple by Mother Love Bone. And there you have it, 10 1990s alternative rock songs that you may not know about. Either that or you just simply didn't remember. If you have a couple that you think other people don't remember or don't know about, post them in the comments below. Share good music. Share music from this generation of the 1990s, because it was a wonderful time for music, especially of rock music. That's what we like to do here on this channel. That's what we like to do here on Cover Killer Nation. We like to spread the music around. So, of course, if this is your first time checking this out, or if you've been doing it for a while and you want to know whenever new stuff comes out, subscribe, please. It is phenomenal. It's something I definitely highly recommend and very thankful for. Also, check out the Facebook and the Twitter. Both of those are which are in the description box below. Whew! I'm going to go listen to more 1990s gems. We might be doing this again because I fucking love this decade. Later!